So hey guys, today we're taking another look at Metaltronus, and I've realized that this card has even more disgusting usages that I didn't even cover. So we're going to cover them, and yeah, there's a lot that this card can do. So it's going to depend on the exact meta. So I'm not going to list off like exactly what cards we would be doing this against, but Metaltronus, this card, it honestly, genuinely, to an extent, horrifies me. But I guess the one downside of this card is it loses to Ash Blossom Joy Spring. But our opponent will simply not have Ash Blossom Joy Spring in hand after going full combo. They won't. Okay, so moving on. So, in a follow-up video, I mentioned that whatever you summon off of Metaltronus, technically you can cheat out a lot of different extra deck monsters. And just for one example, I guess we could use like the example of Supreme King Zark. Zark. Where is Zark? Nope. That's not Zark. Zark? Aha. Supreme King Zark. So, for example, if we special summon Supreme King Zark off of the effect of Metaltronus, it is genuinely still summoning a Supreme King Zark. And if this card is special summoned, destroy all cards your opponent controls. That's an effect on Zark. So what we could do is we could flip Zark face down. And this would work against any Dark Dragon deck, I guess. And this would enable us to essentially just board wipe our opponent with just Metaltronus plus some way to flip the Zark face down. And that's pretty brutal. But if we have a way to put a card face down and back face up, then that becomes disgusting in a whole different way. So let's find a kind of disgusting card, I guess. So let's say we have Naturia Exterio, I guess. There we go. So let's just assume for some reason your opponent has an appropriate target for us to summon Exterio. It doesn't really matter what the card is, but we summon it off of Metaltronus, banish our opponent's card, and we can, using an effect of another card, we can flip this face down. So we can use Green Ninja. So if we use specifically Green Ninja, we flip face down the Exterio, let's say, and then we need to put one guy on the field. And then we'll be able to link off the Green Ninja with, for example, Sprite Elf. And if we have proper zone play, let's say we put Stereo in the middle zone here, and then we link off Green Ninja plus, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, just another card. Then we can have Sprite Elf pointing to the Exterio in our middle zone, and we also flip face up the Exterio. And Exterio over here will have Amnesia and clearly forget that it's supposed to be negated by Metaltronus. And then, you know, now you have Naturia freaking Exterio. Now, your opponent more or less cannot, well, they will not be able to target the Exterio because of Sprite Elf. And then you have a Spell Trap card, negate. Like, just infinite Spell Trap negates essentially. So, yeah, that's fun, I guess, but there are probably different targets for different scenarios for them to like come up in, but yeah, Metaltronus, we could utilize it like that. And that kind of builds upon what I was thinking before, but I guess if we were playing like Invoked, we'd be able to play like with Ridgen to flip your own cards like face down and then back face up. And technically we could also use this with like flip monsters, I guess, or something. But of course there's also like idea of just like summoning like an Entis and then using it as link material or something, and then we can just trigger Entis. So we have cards like this as well with graveyard triggers, like also Garura, I guess. So that's another usage for Metaltronus that I don't think we really covered, but we would have to really analyze to see what targets we have for Metaltronus. But I guess, you know, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. And also, I guess worth mentioning is Metaltronus can only activate once per turn, meaning if we negate the activation, we can activate a second Metaltronus if we have it. So that's also a thing to kind of be aware of, and the fact that your opponent cannot respond with the card you target. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. And then on top of this, there's still more. Here's another idea that we can use Metaltronus for. So pretty simple idea. Well, we'll just go with this example because it'll make sense, I guess. So our opponent is playing maybe Yubel, whatever, right? So let's say our opponent here has Unchained Soul of Rage, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to banish face down our opponent's Unchained Soul of Rage, and we're going to special summon specifically Typhon. And with Typhon, let's see, that this can special summon in attack position, correct? From your hand, deck, or extra deck that has negate its effects. And if you do, blah blah blah. Yeah, this can be an attack position. So we go battle phase, Metaltronus, target Unchained Soul of Rage, Superstar Slayer Typhon, attacks, and then here we could, well, it depends on the situation, but maybe Typhon isn't the best target for this. There's probably a better one for the specific play I have in mind. But now that Typhon has, well, I guess it shouldn't be Typhon. So let's grab a different XYZ actually. I've changed my mind. I think Typhon might have like a target that's possible or not. I'm not sure. But let's go with Ninja Shadow Mosquito instead, which I don't think is like actually summonable necessarily, but let's assume there's a decent low level XYZ that we can summon or that fits a certain criteria. Then we can go downward into Zeus after we do battle with whatever XYZ we summon. So probably Ninja Shadow Mosquito is like the worst example because it's negated. It can be destroyed by battle. But either way, we out our opponent's guy. We then Zeus the entire board. And that's before we have committed our normal summon. And this is all off of essentially one card in hand, right? We can board wipe our opponent. So there's probably a low level Dark Fiend that we can run instead that probably makes more sense than this. And it wouldn't matter if we attacked into the Yubel here necessarily. But I guess it's kind of situational. I mean, in an ideal world, I guess if we're playing against Yubel and they no longer have removal, here's an idea. So instead, let's look for specifically, I guess, a guy for Yubel. So we want specifically a Dark XYZ, and we want it to be a Fiend. Embodiment of Crime. I guess that would work. I suppose. And then we can just link climb or rank up the crap out of this Embodiment of Crime. And then kind of bend over our opponent here. Real quick though, I want to check some guys out. So Armored XZs. So full Armored XZs. Rank 5 or 6 XYZ monster. And then we can actually turn this into a Zeus, yeah? So if we have a rank 5 or 6, any rank 5 or 6 XYZ monster, we can make this play using full armored Dark Knight Lancer now. And I think there were a few other targets, but I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. But I guess Yubel's probably not the best example to do this against necessarily. But a really disgusting one would be if we were able to summon the Zodiacs and our opponent has a guy in defense, or something we can attack into with a 0 attack Zoo. We can go like, it doesn't matter which one we summon, does it? It would have to be against an Earth Beast Warrior deck, which doesn't currently exist, but that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can go into all of these guys and then into Zeus. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Mat Zeus. So it's like 4 Mat Zeus, I guess. So we're able to activate a Trident effect before going into the Zeus potentially. So that is like the high end of this, I guess. But yeah, essentially we can Metaltronus into an XYZ, and then if we, well, this requires to really target a certain deck, I believe, for the most part. But we'll be able to essentially kind of bend over our opponent with the Metaltronus. Unfortunately, though, the one thing that's kind of unfortunate about Metaltronus to an extent, I guess, is that it targets. So this does not out Dragoon. So yeah, but still, I would say this is a pretty useful, just in general, kind of a combo here. Well, a different kind of one-card combo, I suppose. There's probably just something that we can do. Not 100% sure. There's probably some way for Metaltronus to potentially out, I guess, the Dragoon. I mean, we can at least force the Omni by, like, making a Zeus. So there was always, I guess, that idea. If we were playing DD, though, here is just a quick idea. I don't think we're necessarily going to be able to easily do this, but we can summon, for example, Marksman Kingtail. And then we can threaten Zeus with this, or we can use this as kind of extension if we were to be playing this in DD. So if Marksman Kingtail is sent from specifically the field or the graveyard, this also technically works with like Wave High King Caesar and Wave King Caesar. It will trigger to perform like either a search or a Foolish Burial. In the case of Kingtail, Foolish Burial. And if we want to make Zeus, we can go like into Deus Machinax, and then we can attack, go into Zeus, or we can attack with this, and then go Deus Machinax, and then Zeus. So that also works, I guess, right? And in fact, we don't even have to go into Deus Machinax. We can go into like full Armored Master, technically, if we wanted to do that. But we can also go into, I believe, let's see. If we go into Wave King Caesar to start, we can go Wave King Caesar into Kingtail, and then rank up into Deus Machinax for interruption, which is just another thing we can just randomly do. And for like another combo, I don't think this is going to really come up, but with the full armored guys, we can rank up. Oh, let's see, not the full armored guys, the armored guys, right? We can go into the fortress off of any rank 3 or 4. So we summon any rank 3, 4, we go into a fortress, then we can grab Armored XYZ, Full Armored XYZ, whichever one, I guess. And then we go into Full Armored Dark Knight Lancer. And then we can activate Dark Knight Lancer. We can threaten potentially a Zeus with this. We have, I guess, options. And I think XYZ is probably what you're going to mostly be abusing Metaltronus with. It kind of gives me that impression. But yeah. Metaltronus, probably a card to just keep in mind that there might be something disgusting you can do with Metaltronus, so it might not be right now. It might not even be soon, but it'll probably happen at some point. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.